Mater Dolorosa, the mother of sorrows, Dolorosa. 7 sorrows which the mother of Jesus suffered in her life. 7 sorrows, what are the 7 sorrows? They are described. The prophecy of Simeon. We'll look into that thing. The second is the flight into Egypt. The third is loss of the child Jesus in the temple. The meeting of Jesus and Mary on the way of the cross, as he was carrying the cross on the mountain. The crucifixion, that is the 5th sorrow. The taking down the body of Jesus from the cross. She sees her body, her son coming down. The burial of Jesus and putting the stone on the tomb. The prophecy of Simeon, the first sorrow. And Simeon blessed them and said to Mary, his mother, behold, this child is set for the fall and for the resurrection of Israel, of many in Israel. And for a sign we shall be contradicted, and thy own soul a sword shall pierce. He has already prophesied what is going to happen when the child is born. That out of many hearts thoughts may be revealed. Simeon told the bitter passion of death of Jesus in advance when he was just born, you see. In that moment, she realized in her mind all the insults, blows, and torments which the impious men were to offer to the Redeemer of the world. See, that is how he was condemned while he was carrying the cross, you see. But a still sharper sword pierced her soul. It was the thought of men's ingratitude to her son. He came to save them, and that is what he is suffering. Ingratitude. Blow, blow, thou winter wind. Thou art not so unkind as man's ingratitude. Man's ingratitude. Winter wind is not as unkind. Thou art not so unkind as man's ingratitude. You see, that is what Shakespeare says. Ingratitude of a son. The flight into Egypt, the second sorrow. And after the wise men were departed, see, they had come, Magi 3. Behold, an angel of the Lord appeared in sleep to Joseph. When the 3 wise men had come, and when they had gone, then the angel told Jesus' father, Joseph, saying, arise and take the child, his mother, and fly into Egypt, and be there until I shall tell thee. For it will come to pass that Herod will seek the child to destroy him. That was the prophecy made, that he will be killed by the king, who arose and took the child and his mother by night and retired into Egypt, and he was there until death of Herod. That is the second sorrow of the mother. Joseph, being warned by the angel, she had to flee by night in order to preserve her child from the slaughter decreed by Herod. Every child, newborn child, should be killed because he will be the destroyer of the king. What anguish was hers in leaving Judea, lest she should be overtaken by the soldiers of the cruel king. How great her privations in that long journey, etc. The third sorrow is the loss of the child in the temple. See, while they are visiting in the temple, then he got lost in the crowd, Jesus. And having fulfilled the days, when they returned, the child Jesus remained in Jerusalem. And his parents knew it not. And thinking that he was in the company, they came a day's journey and sought him among other kinsfolk and acquaintances. and not finding him, they returned into Jerusalem seeking him. So that is the third sorrow of Mary, that her child is missing in the temple. See. The grief of Mary when she saw that she had lost a son, and as if to increase her sorrow, when she sought him diligently among her kinsfolk, she could hear no tidings of him. Obviously, she will be very sorry. No hindrance stayed, and then the fourth sorrow, the meeting of Jesus and Mary on the way of the cross. Now, this is toward the end of his life. This was the early part. The first three were in his childhood. Now, the remaining four are toward the end. The meeting of Jesus, and so Jesus is carrying the cross on the Via Dolorosa up there. And then she sees my son suffering like that. And there followed him a great multitude of people and of women who bewailed and lamented him. She meets her son, meets him amid an impious rabble, who drag him to a cruel death, wounded, torn by stripes, flagellation, you see, crowned with thorn, streaming with blood, bearing his heavy cross. Who would not weep at seeing his mother's grief, but who has been the cause of such a woe? Who has been the cause of such a woe? It is I, who with my sins and my ingratitude make him suffer. He has come to suffer. Then the fifth sorrow is of course the crucifixion. He is nailed, right hand, right leg, nailed, and then he is pierced to the ribs, you see. They crucified him. Now they stood by the cross of Jesus, his mother. When Jesus therefore had seen his mother and the disciples standing whom he loved, he said to his mother, "Woman, behold thy son." These people are saying to her, "See, this is the plight of your son." After that he had to the disciple, "Behold thy mother." Look to Calvary, where he was carrying the cross, whereon are raised two altars of sacrifice. On one, the body of Jesus, the other on the heart of Mary. These are the two altars. And of course, the Bible also says, along with Jesus, there were two thieves also which were crucified, one on the left, one on the right. And there is a very beautiful painting by Rimbaud about that. Sad is the sight of that mother drowned in a sea of woe, cruelly nailed to the shameful tree of the cross. As she stood at the foot of the cross, pierced with the sword of sorrow, that is the wound she is suffering. She turned, sword of sorrow, that is what the first prophecy had mentioned. He turned her eyes on him. Sixth sorrow, taking down the body of Jesus from the cross. See, they pierced his body to see whether he is dead or alive. When the spear was pierced into his body and there was no response, they said, yes, he is now dead. And therefore the body was taken down from the cross. Joseph, a noble counselor, came and went in boldly to Pilate and begged the body of Jesus. And Joseph, buying fine linen and taking him down, wrapped him up in the fine linen. So his body was taken down and it was covered with a linen. Linen of Turin. They say that his impression is there on that piece of cloth, on the linen of Turin, you see. When his body was covered, that impression is formed on the, and they have preserved that thing, you see. She saw the dead body of Jesus on her knees, covered with blood, all torn with deep wounds. O mournful mother, who would not pity thee? whose heart would not be softened, seeing affliction, which would move a stone. And the last sorrow, the seventh sorrow, the burial of Jesus, the dead body put in the tomb. Now there was in the place where he was crucified a garden, and in the garden a new sepulchre wherein no man yet had been laid. There, therefore, because of the paraskews of the Jews, they laid Jesus, because the sepulchre was nigh at hand, nigh at hand. What grief was hers when she saw the stone lifted to cover that sacred tomb. The tomb is to be covered with stone. She gazed at a last time on the lifeless body of her son and could scarce detach her eyes from those gaping wounds. Gaping wounds. There are 5 wounds on his body. 5 wounds. One right hand nailed, the other left hand nailed, the third right leg nailed, fourth left leg nailed, and one the pierce through his body. 5 wounds. Gaping wound. And when the great stone was rolled to the door of the sepulchre, then indeed her heart seemed torn from her body. Well, obviously, 7 graces. Now, of course, in Christian tradition, there are the 7 sorrows and there are the 7 graces also, the counter, you see. I will grant peace to their families. They will be enlightened about the divine mysteries. I will console them in their pains and I will accompany them in their work. I will give them as much as they ask for, as long as it does not oppose the adorable will of the Divine Son or the sanctification of their soul. I will defend them in the spiritual battle with the infernal enemy. I will visibly help them at the moment of their death. They will see the face of their mother. I have obtained from my divine Son that those who propagate his devotion to my tears and dolors will be taken directly from this earthly life to eternal happiness, etc., etc. That is the 7th vision. Now, in our text, and accepting the universe as a body of woe, the mother of 7 sorrows bore the 7 stabs that pierce her bleeding heart. And then what a picture. The beauty of sadness lingered on her face. Her eyes were dim with the ancient stain of tears. Mother of 7 sorrows. So this is the statue of Mary, and these are the 7 sorrows presented iconographically around the This is the first sorrow, this second, third, this fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh. See. In the iconography of Mary, this is one of the depictions we have got.